India's Forex reserves increased by $1.832 billion to a new lifetime high of $443 billion in the week ended October 25, helped by a jump in core currency assets and value of gold, RBI data showed on Friday. The overall kitty had expanded by $1 billion to $441 billion in the previous reporting week. For the week under review, foreign currency assets, which are the biggest part of the reserves, increased by $1.6 billion to $410.5 billion, as per the data. Expressed in US dollar terms, the foreign currency assets include the effect of appreciation or depreciation of non-US units like the euro, pound, and the yen held in the foreign exchange reserves. The value of the gold reserves increased by $191 million to $27.0 billion for the week. The special drawing rights with the International Monetary Fund was up by $1 million to $1.4 billion. The country's reserve position with the fund dipped by $2 million to $3.6 billion, the data showed. The Indian Space Station, which the Indian Space Research Organisation plans to put in place in 5 to 7 years, will have space for 3 astronauts, sources told TOI. The space station will be an extension of the human spaceflight program Gaganyaan. TOI has learned that the initial designs for the space station still in a nascent stage suggest a 20-ton modular abode in the low Earth orbit, LEO, at an altitude of 120 km to 140 km. The International Space Station, ISS, jointly managed by the US, Russia, Europe, Japan and Canada, orbits at an average altitude of 400 km. Announcing the project in June this year, IRO Chairman K. Sivan had said, "We don't want to be part of ISS. Our station, which will be set up in 5 to 7 years, won't be very big. A space station, with its zero-gravity environment and exposure to space, provides a unique laboratory for scientific research that is difficult to be replicated on Earth. That cells and chemicals behave in a different way in space enables scientists to study variant behaviors and their applications." Some of the major experiments being conducted at ISS include those on Parkinson's disease and resistance of cancer cells to chemotherapy. Research in space have applications also in material development, disaster relief, food and water conservation and waste management. The Indian Space Research Organisation chief, K. Sivan on Saturday weighed in on the second landing attempt of Vikram lander on Moon's south pole, after the first could not find success. Replying to media's query if Indian Space Research Organisation would attempt another landing on Moon's south pole, Sivan replied, "Definitely. We want to demonstrate the technology for Vikram lander landing. We are working on a plan of action about how to go ahead for Vikram lander landing," said the Indian Space Research Organisation chief, who was in national capital to attend IIT Delhi 50th convocation ceremony. What was supposed to be India's first soft landing on the Moon, Chandrayaan-2, ended in failure when the robotic Vikram lander seemingly crashed into the lunar surface. If it had been successful, India would have become the 4th country to land a spacecraft intact on the Moon. Vikram was to land on the Moon and deploy the 6-wheeled rover Pragyan. Pragyan, India's first rover on the Moon, would have explored the lunar surface for 1 lunar day, around 14 Earth days. Subscribe World Action and Reaction News, warn and press bell button for getting notification of all future updates.